I like the third eye that you have in terms of on the creative side of what you do within your art, how you design, how you build, how you picture, how you in some ways just bring your pictures to life. Like tell us about how it all began in terms of you having that feel vibe or just creative touch in terms of illustration. Like where did it all start? How did it all begin? And pretty much where you headed.
Oh, absolutely. Well, definitely observing began very, very young. I think the first time I really just started to capture people, I might have been 5 years old, man. And I just started drawing people and things. And eventually that got into me wanting to bring expression out of my drawings with characters. So I started getting into cartooning and caricatures and doing that sort of thing and just keep practicing and keep drawing and always capturing people. And the more you do, the better you get. And so I started to get really, really good young, but I kind of had a cheat though, because my mom was an artist too. So I watched her draw a lot and I watched her paint a lot, her watercolors and whatnot. So she's very, very talented. So I think just being surrounded by art maybe had a lot of influence on what I wanted to bring and how I wanted to express my portraits and my pictures and even my characters and everything. Yeah.
So you went in from, you actually attended Savannah College of Arts and Designs. That's SCAD. If people don't know, of course, based out of Georgia, one campus in Savannah, and of course in the ATL. Talk about that non-traditional approach, because I know a lot of people that pretty much had either thought about going or tried to go, but for you to have that opportunity to pretty much just have a totally different change of trajectory or direction within your college experience. How was that experience with SCAD?
Well, with SCAD, I think what really drove me to go the non-traditional art school route was that's the only thing I wanted to do. And so I would say for people who kind of was a little bit apprehensive, was going to an art university or a technical college or anything like that, it's almost frowned upon too quickly. And I don't understand why exactly that is. Maybe because of a safety net thing, but I think it's becoming more popular now than ever. But when I first reached out, well, after graduating high school and going straight to an art university instead of going to a regular university and then, of course, transferring, I've always wanted to do that. Like there was nothing else I was interested in. And so, and my mom, she definitely always supported me with everything I do. And my family always supported me with my art and everything, because they actually helped me, really make art as a foundation for myself. So it wasn't too much to talk about with me, but most kids don't got that story, because most kids' parents don't want them to go straight to an art school. They want them to go to a university, and they want them to have some sort of other degree just in case they become a starving artist. And it can be tough because the art industry is very, very and extremely competitive, and it's very hard to get out there when the world is just saturated by so many hands, artistic hands. So it's hard to make something for yourself. But I think the key was sticking with yourself. Do it because you want to do it, and not because anyone else want to do it. Because you're the only you, right? So I feel like anything that you do that is you're passionate about and that you really, really care for is going to be original because it's yours and no one else can do it like you, right? So that's what I would say to anybody that's graduating high school or even wants to dive right in and just learn something creative. Go for it, because it's there and it's yours.
I mean, I know that never any question for anybody would be, tell us about career options or job options. Now, you mentioned the industry itself. If you had to break down the industry itself and sort of identify or pretty much reference any particular job position, what would some of those jobs or job options be in terms of, within that art market, within the artistry role itself?
Absolutely. So I'm gonna take myself for an example. I draw people, right? So I had quite a few ways I could go with it. I majored in animation. in film and television. And I was a storyboard artist for quite a few projects. And I did the pre-production work and character designs for quite a few film projects, smaller indie projects as well for people. So if you are an artist, you can use those talents for film. You can use those talents for advertising. You can use those talents for broadcast design. You can use those talents for courtroom. You know, you can be a sketch artist in the courtroom. So you can have government jobs. The military, they're starting to implement quite a few things with their architecture department. So if you like to build, you know, my best friend, she's an architect major. And so, and you know, she was my dorm mate, and we're still best friends to this day. And we both have a passion for, it's a core passion, but it can be branched out into any facet of the industry and any facet of life. And you can really find a pool of things to do within the art community. But it's all about what you want to do. As long as you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to get better in that craft, and you're going to get better in that specific eye that you're developing for yourself. So, but as far as my role, yeah, most definitely. Mainly, my role is typically media and design, because I do a lot of logo work and portrait work and digital art as well. So people will use me for their business or commercial, or if they're developing a series that they want to pitch to Netflix, you know, they'll give me to do the storyboarding for that. So it's so many different ways that you can take your art, and kids can take their art and look towards the future. Oh yeah, industrial design. That's another one. Industrial design. I forgot about that.
Okay, cool. And when you look at sort of the breakdown of, I guess cultural or race dynamics, I mean, how do you find too many people of color, minorities, or women of color, people of color, that actually are in this field or thrive within this field? Or how would you describe, you know, the opportunities that are there, if there were any, I guess, barriers or disparities amongst race?
It was definitely barriers. There are definitely barriers. Give you an example. At first, it's gotten better now, but before I went to college, and this is when I was in high school, I remember getting art gigs to where I can sell my art at different places, and over the phone, they'll agree to everything. But when I show up, all of a sudden things just didn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? So that happened a lot. And I think that happens a lot to people of color and artists of color, particularly in the South. And it's hard because you don't find too many successful Black artists anyway. We're good, but you don't find too many successful ones that have been pushed, you know, to the highest heights the way other ethnicities do. And so I think it's becoming better now because of social media and the self-identity that we're all realizing that we absolutely need to nurture. So I think it's becoming more of a support system now, with everything Black art, Black creatives, Black business. So it's becoming better, but it's still not enough. We need so much more art heads in mainstream media. We really do. We don't have enough at all.
I was going to ask you to name some more artists you will say within that field, or if you had to throw out some names that you would say were power players, or pretty much had that leeway or name recognition, or maybe not even name, you know, that you can shout out and just pretty much just point out as being like dope.
Let me tell you who mine are. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, so many. Well, I definitely love Bruce W. Smith. He's my favorite animator. He's the guy that created Bebe's Kids and Proud Family. He's definitely my favorite animator. But as far as other artists who do what I do, quite a few of them I went to school with. Andy Mai. I forget his handle, but he's really good. And he's Japanese, but I love him so much. I feel like he's minority. I know he's not Black, but I just love him so much, and I love his art. And there's Valen. She's really good, and she's me and her might have been the only two Black girls in quite a few classes that we had. Valen, and there's Kristen Garland. Now, Kristen Garland, you probably recognize her work. She's actually worked on quite a few films that went to television for, I think, Disney, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Disney, if I'm not mistaken. Her name is Kristen Garland, and she's amazing and pretty much known in California out there. But yeah, there are quite a few of us out there. But like I said, as far as mainstream though, like behind the scenes mainstream, we don't have enough, and we really need to, I guess, promote art a lot better than what we're doing or have been doing in the past.
Now, most artists that I know, especially those that pretty much are on the illustration or design side, now they kind of they're coupled with, there's another special talent that they have. Can you identify some other talents that you maybe can kind of just dive into, or you probably have that are not as exposed or not as used, or probably most common amongst all artists? Like I said, we know the illustration part or the illustration side is good. However, what other things that you probably say tie into that or complement that as well?
Oh, most definitely maquettes. All right. So when you're good at illustrations and when you understand art and form, you're good at sculpting as well, probably if you handle with it. And what a maquette is, I love maquettes, and I need to start back doing it because I'm actually developing a pitch for the novel that I'm writing. I'm writing a sci-fi novel. And so I'm going to be building my characters. Maquette is just a clay figure that you make that is used for pre-production. So the production team knows how to build your character and know its form and shape and everything. So that ties a lot into it as well. So I would say sculpting. Sculpting would be something that I would definitely want to do more of. Sculpting and writing, really. Story development.
Story development itself. So
yeah.
mostly all illustrators are good storytellers, as you're saying, primarily.
Most are.
Yeah.
Most are. I would say people who enjoy story make good artists. Right. I'm not sure artists make good storytellers. I don't know if it works that way around. But I do know that when it comes to storytelling, and when you think about character, it has in order to tell a story correctly, you got to get your audience invested in that character. So you have to have a character that captures you. You have to have a character that's interesting and complex and has pros and cons and that sort of thing. And you want to work around that. So you want to put that character, drop them into a world and see what happens.
So I mean, you mentioned the disparity in terms of it not being the pool of African-American or even minority-based artists having that, so almost a fair advantage in some ways. What are some of the pros and cons that you would say, pros and cons would say that digital media or technology affords them, if there is, or if there's such a thing? Could you highlight that, point it out, see it pretty much? I mean, because most all artists that you see, I mean, just like rappers, just like singers, I mean, you get as a pool of them, there's a lot of them out there. I mean, there's a lot of people you're dealing with. But So how would you say, what advantages or disadvantages does social media or maybe even technology affords most artists that could be struggling or just pretty much get their name out there?
Absolutely. I would say the advantage of it is marketing yourself the best way you want to do it. So you get to represent yourself the best way. Now, that is an advantage of the social media in the artist world. And you're able to do it as much as you want. You have it right there in the palm of your hand, you're marketing. And you're advertising yourself, you're selling yourself. Now that's a great advantage that we didn't really have before. You would always have to pay somebody to put your name out there, or you would have to, uncomfortably, literally push your face out there amongst people. But now you can be in everybody's faces with social media. Now that same token, the con to that is if you really don't have the best type of representation for yourself, it could be tough to dial it back and switch it up. Because let's say you advertise yourself you market yourself in a way that you're not going to be proud of in 5 years. And so, and you just hurt yourself there. So I would say that is the only con in me. I think you mentioned the first con, with it just being so congested with information that you just, it's hard to stand out. It's hard to get out there. But like I said, when it comes to social media, I feel like everyone sees themselves as their own artist when it comes to social media. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think artists typically have a certain pool because they have a craft that everyone recognizes and can relate to, no matter what language you speak. So that's what's beautiful about that. And you're able to reach more people that way.
So would you recommend to say that the educational route, even from a traditional educational standpoint of going to an art school, would you say that is the best option in this day and age, or does it primarily just depend on the hands-on experience and exposure how you're able to put yourself out there? What would be your best course of action, as you look at the development and the evolution of art and how it's being shared?
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't have to go the traditional route and through a school. Absolutely not. You're anything that you want, you're going to get that knowledge. You can teach yourself. Most of the best artists were self-taught. They didn't go to school. They didn't go to college. And it's because they practiced it, and it was more of that experience and that hands-on, getting your hands dirty and getting in there. So I would never tell someone, oh, you got to go to school to be successful. Never. I would never do that. You got to work to be successful. It's a difference. So as long as you're working for your craft, you're definitely going to get to where you're going. And staying consistent, working for it, staying consistent, and believing yourself more than anything. I think what really helps is having a support system, because they're definitely, your family and friends are definitely going to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. But sticking to it is the main thing. I don't care if 2 people like your work on this planet. If it's something that you want to do, keep doing. That 2 people going to turn to 3. That 3 going to turn to 10. Just keep doing you, because you're going to continue to learn and get better and better and better. So whether you're in a university or not. So now, granted, I'm not going to say don't go to school, because I definitely wouldn't have known quite a few things if I didn't go to SCAD. SCAD was an amazing school, and I don't regret my years there at all. I'm really happy that I went, but I wouldn't tell anybody that they have to get that traditional foundation in order to thrive and be successful in this industry. Not at all. It's about the work you put in, and I think that's with anything. It's about the work that you put into it.
So. Yeah, most people would say that individuals or artists with creative minds need out. They need exposure. They need to have those things they can actually tap into and escape from, to kind of keep their mind fresh, to keep their creative juices flowing. Name some things that you do, and you say most artists probably should do, in order to kind of keep you maybe ahead of the curve, or maybe in some ways in the know, just maybe allow your brain to breathe and allowing other things to be developed. I mean, we'll name some hobbies or exercises, or what do you normally use as tools to help you to evolve and develop?
A good practice for me to stay in there, and then it helps me evolve, is drawing every day. I don't care if it's something this big, just draw every day. And even if you skip a day, make up for it that next day. There's something that you just should have a hobby. You shouldn't leave your house without pen and paper somewhere, because you could be eating somewhere, instead of you being on your phone. If you're not handling your page and your followers or anything, draw, sketch, do that. So I definitely do that as a hobby. And other things that I like doing, coloring books, which is odd. Just getting coloring books. Because what coloring does, it not only keeps your practice there, but it's slick therapeutic to your mind. It actually is actually working your brain, and is working a part of your brain that helps the creative, I think creative inspiration and everything like that. So definitely do that. Reading literature. that helps with your creativity as well. And as far as when I say drawing every day, you don't have to draw anything crazy every day. Literally, I think for months I drew, what was I drawing? I think I drew a certain flower. It was I think it was a lily. I drew a lily every day. I drew it different types of ways. I drew it with pencil, pen, paint with a pencil, pen, charcoal. I would scribble it on the back of a receipt. I would just draw a lily every day, and it would start to change and develop itself, and you get better and better and better. And so just honing on one thing. I think there's one guy, another artist I follow, I forget his name, but he drew an ibis, which is a bird with a long beak. He drew that every day for a year. And then that ibis became this character that just developed itself. So little practices like that. That's not much. Just it takes maybe 30 seconds to 5-10 minutes out your day. Just keeping that practice up and doing it.
I see you got a few pictures in the background posted on the wall back there. Like give us an illustration and some description in terms of what you're working on now and what maybe people could hope to see or should be expecting to see from you in the near future. What about the three pictures you got hanging up in the back?
No, absolutely. So what I got here, this is right here is a promotional piece and / birthday gift that I did for Carlos Miller, the comedian Carlos Miller, 85 South and Wild 'N Out. Yeah. And that is the promotion piece for my novel, my Mississippi-based sci-fi novel that I got. It's called Mudlines. And so that's what that is. And he actually wants me to give that to him when he comes to town. He's from Mississippi. So
yeah. Shout out to the Carlos Miller, man. Shout out to Carlos, definitely.
Absolutely. So he got Kim folks out here. So that's really nice. But he's gonna be getting that, and that was a lot of fun. The character in that is the main character in my novel. Her name is Teshi. And she has sickle cell anemia. And so, it's gonna be an adult sci-fi. It's gonna be kind of don't give it to your children to read, but it's definitely gonna be amazing, and it centers around Mississippians. It's gotcha. It's a whole world down there. And that's what that's about. And that's called Mudlines. And this right here is a self-portrait that I did in graphite. I think just a regular school pencil. I was messing around one day and I just kept going and going and going. It was just supposed to be a quick little sketch, but it ended up being a whole rendered graphite portrait there. And up there, that's my baby. That's my baby KJ, my 7-year-old. I did a self-portrait of him.
Okay, cool.
He's just fun. He's so much fun to draw. I got so many drawings and sketches of him.
So let me ask you another question. I mean, I know a lot of people, as far as artistry is concerned, they have to be at a certain location. Of course, if you want to model, hey, you go to New York, you maybe go to DC or Chicago, Atlanta. If you want to be a rapper or singer, however you want to look at it, some people will choose to go to those cities or areas that pretty much affords them the opportunity. Now, would you say, within in your world of art, or even where we are in today's age, that still matters, or is really all about you and the work ethic that you have and the things that you're able to do on a day-to-day basis? Is location important, or is it key, or is it pretty much on the individual artist who pretty much puts in the work to make it happen?
I think it's being less and less about the location because of social media. So because you're able to reach anywhere on the globe, from anywhere on the globe, I think you don't necessarily have to be in those locations where your industry is just popping. But now I will add this: it doesn't hurt to be in those locations, like Atlanta. Atlanta is a huge hub for Black artists. It doesn't hurt to be in locations like California, where you can walk into somewhere and literally be sitting next to someone who has $1 million gallery next door, so it doesn't hurt to be surrounded by that energy and in those areas where you can just meet people. So that never hurts, but so it's becoming less about location because of social media, but it's still a strength to be in those places. Now I happen to be in Memphis, and in Memphis Memphis has a love-hate relationship with art. Like it's very heavy in art, but it's also it's kind of stagnant as well. Like it's not necessarily moving one direction or the other.
But there's a history though. When you think about blues, when you think about even some areas of hip hop, man. I mean,
it was born here. Art was here. Yeah,
it was born here. So is it sort of is it a trend, or is it that it fluctuates? How would you describe it in terms of it being, I guess, sort of love hate?
Well, I would say that it will always have that type of tenure. Memphis will always have a tenure with art. So, right. So people all over the world will always come to Memphis to get an artistic experience because of blues and visual artists, painters that have been in and graced the city. But I would definitely say that when I say stagnant, as far as it staying traditionally, it's just staying right there. Tradition is not necessarily being brought up into, when I say mainstream media, is not as televised as I think it could be. It used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be, like Memphis used to be the spot for art, but now it's not as much. Other places have kind of swooped in there and have become the pool of it. And I think, and I don't know what attributed to that, but what attributes to that, but I would say that I'm pretty faithful that Memphis will eventually become bigger and more of we'll go back to being a main art hub soon, because you have a lot of young cats out here that are doing their thing down here. So, not just with art, but just like music, the music industry. You got a lot of artists and rappers that are starting to get notoriety, and so that's gonna help. That's gonna help the city.
I was gonna say that the music scene in Memphis has always been big. It's definitely over the years. They got some crazy artists out there that's making noise, especially on the rap side. So yeah, that's sort of could be a tie-in, like we say, in terms of how it does explore and expound on other parts of art or other ways that art is being expressed. What would be your message to that young artist who, in some ways, just has a passion or maybe even an interest in it? What would be some key ingredients that you either give to either the artist or the artist's guardian parent to allow them to be free and build on that art platform?
Well, I would say definitely stay true to yourself, what you want to do, and stay consistent in that. Always have whatever you want to be, whatever type of art form you want to go after. Stay consistent with it. It's going to be times where you think you're not moving. There's going to be times where you think you're not getting better. There's going to be times where you think you're going to fail, that you are literally failing. Please keep it up. You're not. You're not. This stuff just don't come. I'm not there yet. No one's there yet. So you're in good company. Just keep going. And as far as parents that have kids that are creatives, please, please, please nurture that seed, because artists literally change the world and we mold the world. When you look outside, you're looking at art. So definitely allow your child to embrace that artistic side. And what's really cool about that is that might be that kid's catalyst. That might be that thing that kid needs to keep him in school, to keep him on the right track, to express himself instead of him fighting. He hitting that pencil and paper. He writing. Yep. You know what I'm saying? He's rapping. He's writing poetry. He's this is what he's doing. So you always have to pet that. You always got to feed that part of that spirit. So that's what I would say. Do. Don't ever stop.
That is. Hey, any last words, final thoughts? How can people stay in contact with you, follow you in some ways stay connected with you throughout the days, months, weeks leading up to your projects or any releases that you may have?
Absolutely. Well, I definitely thank you for having me on your awesome radio show. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody. But yes, definitely follow me. My Instagram is Robin Red Dread. That's ROBINREDDREAD. Yes, Robin Red Dread. Follow me there, and I have a website as well. That's Heyloon Production. That's HEYLOON Productions.com. A lot of my digital work is up there, as well as my 2D reels and that sort of thing. So definitely follow me on those platforms. Holler at me for portraits or anything that you need. I don't ship internationally. I only ship nationally, but I can get you anything that you need. Absolutely. And thank you again for having me.
It was always an honor, joy, and pleasure. We appreciate you, Rob. Hey, it's John Huey Radio. Y'all keep it locked, man. Still more to come.
Music, interviews, podcasts, and so much more. John Louis Radio, next level.